Hey everyone, you might have seen the Final Liberation video I did a few weeks ago. Basically what I wanted to do was almost make a documentary style video of all the old kind of PC games, Warhammer PC games in the 90s that for me as a kid had like a really big impact and influence on me discovering the hobby. So games like Chaos Gate, Shadow of the Horned Rat, Final Liberation, and so on and so forth. And what I wanted to do is basically reach out to the people that made these games, directors, artists, programmers, and so on. And basically, I wanted to kind of create a documentary style video for each game, getting all these people's memories. But sadly, I wasn't really successful in doing that. Most people, I was able to track a lot of people down, but most people either weren't interested or remembered very little of the project, that they felt they couldn't add anything of value, which is fair enough. But I thought it'd be a shame if I didn't do anything with the interviews I had done. So I did one with Jim Crew, who was the composer for Chaos Gate. So Chaos Gate is a turn-based, I don't know how I describe it. It's like XCOM. If you've ever played XCOM, it's very similar to that. You play as the forces of the Ultramarines against Chaos, and it's got a wicked narrative campaign and very like narrative elements to the gameplay. There's a lot of kind of like unique like squad customization, which I really enjoy, and you really kind of find yourself immersed in the kind of battles you're playing, which is something I really enjoy. But one of the standout things for the game, I love the artwork and I love the kind of visuals, the 3Ds of the game. But one of the things that always stands out to me is the soundtrack. It's the Final Liberation video I did, the soundtrack in that, I kind of mentioned, it's kind of very heavy metal. This is almost complete opposite, where it's kind of like, Latin chanting, I suppose, like monks chanting. And it feels very Ultramarine, I suppose, and so I got a call with Jim Crew, who wrote the music, and it was really great to kind of hear, how that came about. And I think if you've played the game, I think you'll agree the soundtrack is something that kind of stands out to a lot of people. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this chat with Jim Crew.
Our struggle is born of chaos. The same chaos that 10 millennia ago seduced 9 lords and their space marine legions, casting the Imperium into rebellion and civil war. Only the boldness of the Emperor and his remaining space marine forces drove the Dark Hordes into the Eye of Terror. For a millennium times 10, they have lurked there, emerging to mount their campaigns against the Imperium. And now, more powerful than ever, the Chaos forces of the Dark Lord Zimran strike at the very heart of the Imperium.
So my name's Jim Crew, and I was the composer for Warhammer Chaos Gate. I had worked with a game company in North Carolina for a couple of years on several projects in the mid-1990s, and they approached me, I think it was 1998, to do a demo for a project they were hoping to land for their development company. Which I knew nothing about the game itself until they introduced it to me. And just immediately I was like, yes, I'm in. This is the kind of stuff that I love. So we did a demo, and at the time I was heavily listening to Carl Orff's Carmina Burana. It's a classical piece that features this Gregorian chant combined with orchestra, and it's kind of intense and exciting. So that was what was inspiring me at the time. Plus, I grew up singing in a boy choir for many years, so I kind of had this background of that kind of music. Also played piano, my main instrument, a lot of classical background, as well as jazz. Totally gotten into jazz ever since then, but nevertheless, that's where my head was at the time, and it just, I don't know, the concept for the score just came very quickly. So we created a demo with some, live singers. The music was all created in the box. So the music was orchestrated in the box, so to speak, with MIDI. We didn't have budget for our live orchestra, but we did have a little money to spend, so we spent that on the singers. I think we used 8 singers, and I double tracked it probably to make it sound like a bigger group.
Yeah.
But
is it all in Latin? It
is, yeah. Which is kind of a funny story, because if any of you Latin scholars out there really dug into the grammar, I'm not sure how accurate it is. That stuff. I studied Latin in high school.
Sure.
And was a pretty bad Latin student, but I still had my textbooks, so I just kind of took themes from the game, some of the characters, and just kind of created very simple lyrics that
sure
supported the story a little bit, and did my best.
You can hear like Deus Irae, Day of Wrath,
right?
As an example.
Kruger, I used his name in there somewhere, and so I'm sure the grammar is not 100% correct, but I should have hired someone to proof it, but we were in kind of a hurry, as is typically the deal with game development and the music in particular. It gets kind of put off till the end, and okay, the game's done, we need music now, go. So
yeah, I mean, can you remember roughly how long did the process take you? I suppose
I think the writing process took maybe a month. I think they gave me a month. I can't remember exactly how many pieces there were, maybe 8 or 10, and so yeah, did the writing, and then we recorded the vocals in maybe 2 sessions. It might have been one long one. I can't really remember. It's kind of a long time ago, but
yeah.
But they were professionals, I'd scored it all out, so they were just reading the parts, and they did a great job.
Sure.
Yeah.
So did you have any visual elements of the game in front of you, or did they kind of say this is the concept of the game? Were you working blind, I suppose?
Well, I had a few pictures, I guess that Tony had, rendered some of the characters, and so yeah, I had a pretty good feeling of the atmosphere that.
Sure.
Which, I don't know. I felt like the music was maybe not the first choice, the obvious choice, but it just seemed to blend.
It's funny you say that, because I think kind of within the hobby community, I think there's I don't know what there's almost like a mantra that you associate Space Marines, for example, with the death metal band Bolt Thrower. They used a lot of Warhammer 40,000 artwork on their albums, and so to kind of use Gregorian chants, but a lot of people almost see Space Marines as kind of medieval monks, in suits of armor. So there's that connection to it.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I guess if you're a time traveling, mercenary, then it's got to be timeless, So
sure. Yeah, lovely.
But it was great fun. It was one of the more satisfying scores I've got to work on in my career. It's one of those where I was left to my own devices for the pretty much,
Wicked, yeah.
Yeah, not a whole lot of editing required after the fact, and that's always fun when you kind of feel like you nail it on the first try. So
yeah, that's wicked. I think I mean, the game is obviously rather dated by today's standards, but I think the soundtrack itself, like, I mean, you've obviously mentioned it was made using MIDI, but it still holds up really well, I think, by today's standards.
It was done a lot of times when you do things quickly like that, you capture some magic, and if
you don't think about it too much, you can,
right,
yeah,
and don't overwork it. Yeah, I'm thinking back I'm thinking back to what was going on in my life when I wrote that, and my wife's mother had just passed away.
Oh, yeah.
And we were taking some time. Plus we had a young child at the time. She had just been born, and we took some time off and just went to the coast, North Carolina coast, which is where we like to vacation, and went there, and it was in the spring, and it was really bleak, stormy and cloudy the whole time we were there. But that was when I'd just gotten the job, and it was like, well, I can't just blow this off for a week because I've only got a month to write it. So I actually wrote a lot of the melodic material and started thinking about the lyrics while I was on that trip. So I wasn't even sitting at a piano. I think I might have had a little toy keyboard or something so I was basically writing from just my ear, making some notes. And when I came home, started working with the orchestration and getting it finished up.
Yeah.
But like I said, it happened really quickly, and I think you can capture some magic when you don't get in your own way, for editing and overthinking things. So.
Yeah, sure.
I've gotten many letters over the year, which I really appreciated, from fans of the game who talk about the music and that. And most of them ask me, can I get a high quality recording? And the sad answer to that is no.
Yeah, of course.
I was young, early in my career. I didn't know what I know now. And, this was, what you call work for hire. Sure. They paid me to write the score, and then it's theirs to do with. And that company went out of business a few years later, and I contacted them at that point and said, hey, a lot of people want a high quality. Can we get the master recordings and just put that out? They lost them.
Oh man,
they lost them. I mean, I really went after it several times. It's surely, it's with
it's got to be somewhere. Yeah.
It was on a little digital audio tape was the format that we would master to back in those days, and it just disappeared.
Oh, well, that's it. Yeah.
It's really, I've toyed with the idea of re-recording the whole thing, and actually, I mean, in my fantasy, I would use a live orchestra, and do the thing again from scratch. But I don't know how to get permission to do that because legally, I don't own the music. So,
yeah.
Anybody out there wants to help me out on this?
Yeah, get in touch with Jim for sure.
I mean, literally, I've gotten hundreds of emails over the years, and
sure, I can imagine.
Because some people would be interested in supporting. I'm not trying to make a bunch of money off of it, but it would be
nice. A nice thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely, awesome. Thank you very much for your time. I'll stop recording now.